I just had an amazing conversation with Tasha Roberts. She is the president and owner of ASAP Commercial Doors. She shares her story of how a crisis led to her becoming a business owner and scaling and building a profitable and impactful business. So if you're a business owner listening to this today, you're going through a hard time, you're facing a lot of pressure, hang in there, listen to this episode. Let's check it out. Listen and be encouraged. Well, I'm super excited for our special guest today on the Impactful Leader podcast. We have Tasha Roberts, who is the president of ASAP Commercial Doors. And I've just been following her on different podcasts. She has been making a great impact. So I'm excited for all of our audience to hear your story. Tasha, I always love to start off the conversation with kind of an icebreaker question. And I think you'll love this question. So one of my leadership influences, his name is Craig Rochelle. Ever heard of him?
No, actually.
Okay, you got to check him out. I stole this question from him. So when was the first time you realized you had leadership gifts?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like it was almost like a God-given gift. And what's funny is I'm not an extrovert. I am an introvert that's forced to be an extrovert for my career. But it's ever since I've been younger, people have always come to me for answers. So I can't point out a specific moment, but I'm an oldest sibling. I'm like the oldest cousin. Everybody in my family, I'm like the oldest. So I feel like they've always gravitated towards me for that. But even in sports, in high school, in elementary school, all of my friend groups just would be like, oh, Tasha's in charge. I don't know why. So I don't know. I guess it was just given to me.
Yeah.
And to make me get out of my comfort zone ever since I was younger. So I can't think of a specific time, but
yeah.
Yes.
So that's amazing. So even when you were young, you just noticed it happened, that you had a natural leadership bent and influence even over some of your friends and your family.
Yeah, I think maybe just because I'm good at making quick decisions, like I'm not going to sit and ponder about anything. I just want to get to the point, and maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But yeah, I think it just was chosen.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your business journey. And what's interesting, as I heard your story, is that you never intended necessarily to be a business owner. So can you tell us a journey that led to that big transition in your life?
Yeah, so I did not set out to be a business owner. I did grow up in a family of entrepreneurs. My mother and father started a door company in the 90s, and I watched them grow that. But I didn't get along well with my parents, and I said, I'm going to do the opposite of what they did. I'm going to go to college and get a degree and go make a lot of money. So I was working on that. I had gotten my degree. I was working in finance, and then my parents were in a motorcycle accident in 2016, not able to work anymore. And like I said, people come to me for answers. So I had all of their employees within a couple of days coming to me saying, what are we going to do? Is the business still open? Are we going to work on Monday? So at that point, I just decided to take a leave of absence from my job or my career at that point and step into the business to help. Didn't know it was going to be a forever thing, but that's how I got started. And it's really been like a blur. I can't believe it's been 9 years, but in the last 9 years, just learning everything about the business. I became the official owner president in 2021. So been able to really make a lot of big moves since then.
Yeah, it's so interesting with leadership, especially we all experience the crisis, if you will, of COVID. And I'm noticing that in times of pressure, leaders kind of come to the forefront. They come to the helm to take the responsibility to help things move forward. So tell me more about what was happening maybe emotionally during that moment as you were processing. I know there was an emotional side of seeing your parents in this accident and seeing them go through that journey. That was emotionally tough. But stepping into an industry that you maybe were somewhat familiar with, but you never imagined that you would be leading into the next season of the company. So what was going on in your head during that time?
I would say it's hard to remember what was going on in my head. My parents were in comas for weeks, so I really couldn't even talk to them to figure out like the first step. But I just knew that I had to go in there and figure out everything. Like I'm a very analytical person, so I just went in and I started And at that time, everything was on paper. So I started reading all the papers that were all over the desks and trying to figure out what to do next, and figured out how to work their phone systems. There was no call center. There was no nothing at that time. So just starting from square one and then asking all of the questions, not being afraid to ask the questions. I was a young early 20s and leading a group of men who didn't take me seriously, just putting my pride aside and asking all the dumb questions to make sure that I understood how to keep this business open.
Wow. So was it tough for you? Were there points where you took it personal when you had that response? Maybe people didn't receive you as well because of the transition and because you maybe didn't know the field or have the expertise. How did you navigate that?
Yeah, I would say not to my face. People did not weren't outwardly saying, "Oh, she can't do this. She's a young female in a male space." But I could feel that when we did have some turnover, and that's okay. They weren't good fits anyway. But I will say, I had one person on my team. He's like a cousin. I've grown up with him, and he was like my advocate. He was like, "Tasha is a hard worker. She's smart. She'll figure this out," because he's known me my whole life. So I did have one person on my team and standing up for me as their leader. So that was really helpful.
Yeah. So as you moved into this new role, what was the importance of delegation? How did you assess where everything was at, but then what steps did you take to move forward, and what role did delegation play in that?
This is something that took me a long time to figure out because I wanted to do everything on my own for so many years. So it really took a couple of years of me doing everything from answering phones to setting up new systems, scheduling, project management, sales. I was just trying to do everything. And I was like, this is not scalable. I'm working so hard, not getting anywhere. So I would say, I think it was maybe 2019, 2020, I finally started hiring people to help me in the office. And that was step one. And then I realized, oh, now I have time to focus on more important things and start building out these systems, getting everything off of paper. So I would say it took me a very long time to figure out that delegation was the answer to scaling.
Absolutely. So what were some of the other key maybe systems you put in place? Because it seemed like you're a very systems oriented thinker, like you think in SOPs kind of type of mindset. So what are some other systems that you maybe have identified that were broken, that needed to be revisited or needed to be created, that help you guys move to the next level?
Oh my gosh, I think we pretty much recreated everything. The biggest thing was our CRM. There was no really CRM at the time. We had literally everything was on a big whiteboard. And if somebody would have come and erased it all, we wouldn't have known what was going on that day. It was just all paper, old school. And that's how it worked for so long. But that didn't work for me because I couldn't track anything. It was invoices could get lost. There was a lot of room for error with that system. So I would say the biggest hurdle was getting onto a CRM, and we tried a couple different ones. We finally found one that we've been with for 5 years and love it. But just having that scheduling system properly and a client management system was our biggest thing. I think that kind of set the trajectory for everything else.
Yep. And obviously you're a person that you are a student. I can tell that you lean into leadership and growth. So were there any maybe mentors or coaches? I know you have your parents that were there to help you as they got better and navigated their journey, but where did you go for a mentorship or a leadership development? How did that process look for you?
Yeah, I think that was a part that I was missing for a very long time, and I didn't even know to look for one. But my husband and I had at the same time started a cleaning company in 2019. I was doing all these other side ventures. I really leaned into the entrepreneur thing. I went all in on way too many things. But one of them was a commercial cleaning company. And with that, we joined a coaching group, and we got to go on these retreats with this coach. And while it had nothing to do with my main business, he taught me so much. He knew I had this other venture on the side, and he pulled up my P&L. He dove into it with me. He taught me so much that without that, I don't know where I would be today. So I wasn't looking for a mentor, but I got one, and that's how it started. And since then, I've been really big on education, going to trade events, learning everything I can from whatever industry I can. I love going and touring HVAC companies because they have it figured out, and I like to put those processes into my company. So I would say that kind of opened the door in about 2019, 2020 to when I started really going all in on education.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. And then what role, we spoke off camera that you are a person of faith, you and your husband, and what role did faith play in this major transition of your life?
I had to trust, I had to trust in God a lot. I would say there was a lot of, I mean, there still is every day uncertainty. When it came to my parents, we believe that God helped them get through that. All the doctors were telling us that they're likely not going to survive, and they were basically preparing us for that. But here they are today. I would say in that, my parents' health, God was part of that and all of our healing journeys with that. But also in the business, I tell people ask me all the time, why did you move from across the country, from Arizona to North Carolina to open this business? That makes no sense. And I said, I think God told me to. Like, there was a moment in 2022, I was in North Carolina and we were just in the quiet, and I felt this voice that said, you need to move here. And we did. I told my family, hey, I'm moving to North Carolina. I'm sorry. And then we sold our house and we moved, and it's worked out since then. But I just trust it. So yeah. It's played a big part in where I am today. Yes.
That's awesome. It sounds like such an adventure. Like, I get excited. That's why I love hosting this podcast, because it really it's stories of faith, like people who were totally in a different situation. They had some type of nudge, some say, of course, accredited to God, that God was leading them to something and believe for something greater. And it's just admirable to see people, and it's inspiring, take those steps of faith into the unknown. Because you, like you said, you had no idea your career trajectory was going in a totally different direction, but you took a step of faith, and it seems like you're in your sweet spot. Like, you're leading, you're leading well, and you're making an impact. So that's powerful. So you said earlier that you would look to a lot of companies who were doing really well in that space. So what are some of the changes that you made that you saw that were maybe even detrimental to the business, that you felt like you needed to make that in order to go to the next level?
I would say one thing that I learned from shadowing these other companies, and they were more residential based, like we are 100% commercial, but I think the tactics work the same. One of the biggest things was performance-based pay. So in our industry, it's very common to just pay people hourly or salary. Performance-based is not really anything that is heard of, right? So I implemented a performance-based pay system for our service technicians. So that really changed our company. It catapulted us, because all of a sudden I have these high performers who want to be incentivized for the hard work they do every day. And with our company, they can come in and they can make a lot of money and make the company a lot of money. So the performance-based pay was like one of the biggest changes that we made that made a huge difference.
Wow. And I bet that gave a sense of even value for the workers. Like, it's rewarding to be able to know that your effort, your hard work is paid off. That's amazing. And what about I think I heard in one of your podcasts about from a branding standpoint, you saw a glaring branding issue. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had a very 90s brand, right? I think it was made on clip art or something with like very bland colors, which I don't fault them. That's just how it was at the time, but it definitely needed a refresh. In 2021, when I became the 100% owner, I was able to do whatever. And that was one of the first things. I remember I was at one of these trade shows and Kick Charge was up there, Danny Antonelli, and he's showing pictures of, oh, does your brand look like this? And I was like, oh man, my brand does look just like that. And they were all making fun of it. And I said, okay, it's time to make some changes. After that, I met with the company and we rebranded everything. We had just got all of our trucks wrapped with some terrible wrap, but we rewrapped it all, changed our website, changed our name, got it all trademarked, and we've been running since then. And I think the brand has played a huge part in our growth as well, because now our guys look professional. They all wear the same uniform. We all are rowing the same direction, and our brand is like a reflection of that.
That's awesome. So tell me more about even the value side of the company. So what is the company's values, and how did you get to that place of determining them?
Yeah, so this was about the same time I had like that cleaning company coach, and he expressed how important it is to have core values and a mission and a vision. And I didn't have any of that at the time. I was just trying to keep my head above water. So we did set our values, and we set it as an acronym for our company name, ASAP. So it's act with integrity, strive for excellence, always be learning, and positive attitude. And ever since we set those, we really do hire and fire based off of it. We coach off of them, and everybody knows the core values. We're really strict about making sure everybody knows that, and they need to be a fit if they're going to work with us.
So tell me more about the implementation of, like, how do you guys continue to keep those values in front of your employees? Because sometimes, let's be honest, things can get lost in documents, like great value statements and company culture statements and vision statements. But how do you keep that in front of the people, and how do you continue to even build within your leadership team, cultivating those values?
I would say we have it up on the wall, right? We have it up where everyone can see it, but that, of course, people still may not know it, or they may not pay attention to it. So just from a leadership standpoint, I always talk about them with my leadership team, and then they should be talking about it with everybody below them. I just have worked it into my day-to-day, really. And if we're talking about maybe an issue that's happened in the workplace, at the end of the day, it's usually a core value break somewhere. So we try to determine which core value was violated and how did we get here. So we try to link everything back to our values and coach from there. We also like to do fun things, like one Christmas party, we had a bunch of $100 bills, and anyone who knew all of our core values would get $100 bills. So everyone, ever since that party, you better know it because it might give you money one day for it. So everyone's memorized them because of that. We have core value awards we give out each year. Sometimes we'll just do it monthly. Whoever portrayed that specific value that month will get a gift card or a gift. So we just like to make it fun. I don't want to just pound it into their head like it's a test, but it is really important to us.
That's awesome. And one thing I love about your strength, before the call started, before our podcast started, you said that one of your strengths is that you are, in essence, a coach. Like you love helping pull the best out of people and equipping people. So tell me more about how that's expressed through ASAP, and tell me more about specifically about the apprenticeship program that you guys have to help develop people and develop even leaders.
Yeah, so I love coaching up new people that come in, and if they have, again, like our core values, and if they believe in our mission, like they're pretty much can do anything, and if they're coachable. But what I love seeing is someone, for example, we have one of the highest people in our company. She's our service manager of all locations. She started as a CSR, but I saw potential in her from day one, and I started giving her more and more tasks to do. And she was so coachable. She loves the company so much that she'll do anything. And her true talent started to come out. And it's just amazing to talk to these people after, and they're like, I never thought that I could be where I am today. I was a high school dropout, or I was this and that. Being able to, I think, see other people's talents that they may not even see themselves yet is something that I feel like I'm good at.
Yeah, that's such an amazing, and that's a legacy point. And I believe that whenever the topic of leadership comes up, the topic of legacy should always follow that. Because one of the greatest analogies, I believe, of leadership is that true leaders pass the baton. Mm-hmm. It's not about just what they can do, because, of course, people are talented. Most entrepreneurs that we meet are very talented. But I'll be honest, some entrepreneurs are great at entrepreneurship, and they're great visionaries, but they're not great leaders.
Yeah.
So speak to that. Sound like you had something to say on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I've had to learn that too. Like I sometimes get caught up in the vision and let's go. But if you're not leading your team properly, they're not going to go with you. It's going to break as you go quickly. I had to learn that over the years. And now I have a great team who is all on board. But at the time when I thought I had a great team, so I was just running towards the vision, everything fell apart on the background. So it is a good indication. You have to be that all at the top. Like you have to be a great leader, but also a great visionary.
Yeah. So when you think about, and this can be from an integrated life perspective, because, what's valuable to you, you mentioned is, your family, your faith, your business, your health. So from an integrated life standpoint, what does legacy look like for you? Like when you think about the next 60 years, what is that impact and mark that you want to leave in the earth?
Outside of the legacy for my children, I would like to make a positive impact on the trades in general. I'm very passionate about the trades and making sure we're continuing to bring youth into the trades. It's an industry that for once I feel like it's in the spotlight. It's something that it's going to be hard for AI to take over. These people work so hard every single day and they should be recognized for that. So I just love growing the trades. You brought up the apprenticeship program. I love bringing young people in, men and women in, and teaching them this trade because they can make a lot of money and they can make such a positive impact on their community, and you can leave work every day just being fulfilled. So I hope to continue in some capacity to continue to bring youth into the trades and whatever company I may be at the time. And then, of course, just leaving a legacy for my children and then set a good example for them to go out and be great members of society and people of faith as well.
That's awesome. So what does that look like for the upcoming leaders within the company as well? So what does that development track look like for people who want to take on more responsibility, more leadership, and even to the point to where maybe the next 20 years exit happens? How does that look? What do you see for that?
My vision is to become the best nationwide door company in the US, right? With that, I want to continue opening locations. We have a 5-year plan to open multiple more locations. And my internal team, they know that if they want to grow with us and they want to maybe one day lead their own location, we're going to give them the opportunity to do that, and we're going to coach them to get there. Yeah. So for my internal team, that's something they have to look forward to. Many companies, they feel like they're capped, they can't do anything more. But with us, like I want to coach you to get to where you want to be. If you're a tech and you want to get out of the truck, let's try to get you there and build that skill set so you can be in sales or another department. So for us in the legacy moving forward, I'd say there's a lot of opportunity for our internal team to have a lifelong career.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I love the emphasis on developing others and showing each other and speaking vision over the people who work with you. And your vision is so big, it can't be done alone. There's no other choice but to raise up other people to participate. So what are you guys celebrating right now as a company? Like, what are some of the wins that are happening?
We just last week had our 3-year anniversary in the Carolinas. So we had a party here, invited our customers and vendors and employees to celebrate. We greenfielded this location 3 years ago. We had started from scratch. So it's been pretty awesome to see the team that we have now and all the clients that we've been able to serve. So that's what we just celebrated last week. So that was really cool. Other than that, we're just always looking towards the next goal. We hope to have our next location open by the end of Q1 next year. So awesome. Working on the team to build that.
That's so great. And then lastly, last question, what would you say to the business owner who is leading through a time of pressure, leading in a time of hardship, or maybe even going through some tough transitions? What would you, based on your experience, say to them to encourage them in their journey?
I would say pressure is a privilege. That's what I tell my team all the time. It means that you're growing. It means that you're evolving and changing. So pressure is good. If there's no pressure, then that's when I get a little bit worried. You have to learn to lead through the pressure, but it just means that you're headed the right direction. That's how I see it.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Before we end the show, how could people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your company, or they want to even be a client of you guys? What's the best way to reach out?
Yeah, if you would like to schedule any service or see if you want to get your doors replaced, we can give you a free quote. asapcommercialdoors.com. You can schedule that online. There's also a form you can fill out on there, however you want to contact us. If you want to get in contact with me directly, our company Instagram page is ASAP Commercial Door Service. And that's probably the easiest way to get in contact with us.
Awesome. Tasha, it's been amazing having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us and investing in our audience. And I just want to say we celebrate you and your leadership. Continue to lead, and we just pray the best over all that you're doing. So we're looking forward to staying in touch and watching all that happens in ASAP.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. Nice to meet you.
Wow, what a great conversation with Tasha. I loved her vulnerability, her expertise, and her desire to make an impact. So if this episode encouraged you, inspired you, or had any type of impact, please let us know what your favorite part was in the chat. And also, I'm having a great time interviewing leaders from around the nation. I'm always looking for others to tell their story. So if you know someone that has impacted you, that is a great leader, that is a business owner who you think would be a great guest on our show, please use the link and fill out the form to make that recommendation. And we would love to continue to making an impact by having business owners and leaders tell their stories. So thank you for watching. I will see you next time.